Mad March Hare and Singing Coy Carp. The Mad March Hare was aptly named, for he was indeed that. Mad. Or so it may have seemed. You see, the Mad March Hare was different. Very different. And as differences often go, he viewed everything, well, differently. It isn't easy to remain unchanged in a world that prefers everyone to remain the same. But can you imagine how boring it would be if we all were? How insufferable to always know what the other was thinking, and even though each day was different, everyone insisted upon predictable similarity. It just wouldn't make the blindest bit of sense. And thankfully, the Mad March Hare knew this to his core. The March Hare learnt from a very young age that he could see things that others could not, and he could hear what others failed to entertain. However, what made him magnificently different was that he could hop down the corridors of his mind and manifest the most colourfully inventive ideas. The March Hare had mastered the art of his unbounded, incredible, and truly amazing imagination, and to this skill he was dedicated. Unfortunately, this dedication led him to being labelled absolutely bonkers by everyone around him, and it wasn't long before he felt like a complete outsider. This being the case, he removed himself to the edge of the Shire, where he lived most days miles away from any judgment or fear. Safely hidden away and protected by the solitude of his little burrow, the March Hare would spend months at a time in his own company, inventing new contraptions and gadgets reflective of his unbounded genius. On completion of each invention, he would scurry to the surface and secretly test out the parameters of his success. The March Hare had successfully invented the washy waterlator, a wonderful system that transferred water from a nearby stream straight into his burrow, so he didn't have to fetch it in heavy buckets. He had also invented the Speedy Scooty Scooter-Toot, a brilliant vehicle comprised of 7 wheels that could smash speeds 57% faster than he could ever run. However, his most favourite invention of all was the golden carrot detector. It never failed him, and he never went hungry. Quite simply, the March Hare was a genius. A misunderstood one, but a genius nonetheless. Unfortunately, all the inventions in the world could not stop the hare from experiencing loneliness, and he longed for friends to share his dreams with. One day, whilst the hare stopped by a nearby lake to dip his toes into its cooling waters, he was met with a glorious surprise. Swimming gracefully in effortless circles were the most exquisite twin koi carp the hare had ever laid eyes upon. "Oh, how I wish I were as graceful as you beautiful creatures," the hare sighed longingly, to which the twin koi carp replied, "Everyone is capable of experiencing harmony, my friend. But first, one must attune to the song in one's own heart and let that symphony guide the way." And to prove their point, they began to sing to the attentive March Hare. A sublime sonata of epic delight enveloped his soul, and a cacophony of wondrous notes delighted his senses. His whole body was filled with ecstasy, and he became intoxicated under their magical spell. "Why, thank you, dear brothers," he lazily smiled once the melody had faded. "You have truly touched my heart, and I feel so grateful to have met you this idle afternoon." "Yes, and can you imagine if we had not shared our melody with you?" they replied. You may never have experienced that part of yourself you were unaware was there all along. The koi carp were right. Suddenly, it all made sense. And in that moment, the hare realized that he owed it to himself and to others to share his creative expressions, regardless of any fear or judgment. He acknowledged that there would always be those who would criticize, especially when something was new or different, but with the right guidance and the appropriate explanation, these gifts could transform the world for the better. Without wasting another moment, the March Hare raced back to his home to gather his thoughts and ready his inventions. This time, he shared his ideas with self-assuredness and renewed confidence, thus enabling him to expand the minds of those who had once shunned him. Finally, they viewed his eccentricities as innovative rather than mad, realizing they had prematurely judged the unknown. What the March Hare had learned was that it's not always easy being different, but this difference can make all the difference, and this difference should always be shared.